thank you so much for this video. I might be getting these pickups soon, and I had a question. I know these pickups are incredibly articulate and clear, but can you dirty up the tone and make it sound more vintage? Depending on your amp and your setup, you can get a little more vintage, but these single coils, to my ear, tend to have more of a modern single coil sound, not so much a vintage single coil sound, but I think they sound really good. Install just the neck pickup on my guitar. Is there any place where I can buy these separate? Yeah, you can buy SAs separately, or you can buy SAs in a set of 3. Just contact your local EMG dealer. The other question is, with just the 9-volt running normal, does the EMG sound sterile? That is one of those questions that no matter how I answer that question, the answer is going to be wrong. I personally don't feel like EMGs are sterile, and there are some people that do feel that way, and there are other people that don't feel that way. And it's one of those things where for every person that can point out someone that they've heard that they think it sounds sterile, another person can point out someone that they don't think sounds sterile, but in the long run it's hard to say. I don't think that Zakk Wylde has a sterile guitar tone. I don't think that Steve Lukather has a sterile guitar tone. When I heard David Gilmour play with the EMG DG20 live, I didn't think he had a sterile tone. I think that there are certain artists that I've heard play passive pickups that have kind of a sterile tone. I think the thing that makes your tone alive or sterile goes deeper than just the pickup at the string. You can have a sterile sounding amp. What are you running your EMGs into? What type of guitar is it? What is the guitar made out of? Once again, I had stated in a product review before that tone is not any one thing. Tone is an accumulation of everything in your rig. Everything comes into effect to create your tone, and everything comes into effect as far as making your tone sterile or alive. So that being said, I don't think the regular EMG set by itself sounds sterile. But I tell you that if you go listen to Zakk Wylde live and you go listen to Kirk Hammett live, those are two totally different sounds. Zakk Wylde's rig sounds a lot more alive and a lot more natural sounding than Kirk Hammett's rig does. But I don't think that has anything to do with the pickups thing. And I also say that to say there was also a comment or a question that people have heard that, no matter what guitar you put an EMG in, they all sound alike, and I say false. The person I was talking to said no matter what rig you play through or what guitar you put it in, everything sounds the same. I've never listened to a Steve Lukather album and thought, man, this guy sounds like Zakk Wylde. I've never listened to Kerry King and go, man, that sounds just like Metallica. So I think when people decide that they don't like something, they maybe go exaggerate a little bit in order to make a point. Nice guitar. What type is it? I like the holes. It makes it more unique than most Strats. I've owned 4 Carvids, and this has been my favorite out of all of them. In fact, it's the only one that I still have. But that thing plays great and always has, and it's been one of the best purchases I've ever made. The job is not like an Ibanez Gem Swirl, but it does remind me a lot of, I think there's a guitar pedal, and I think the name of the distortion pedals are Rock Box, but I could be wrong. And they had these weird, funky colors, and I looked at those and I liked those, and tried to see if I could emulate that on here. And I think it came out, you know, pretty close. To go back on to go back and revisit the thing about, is it hard to move the pickups to a different pick guard? There was one aspect of it that was a little tricky. That the size of the EMGs sometimes are a little bit snug when compared to the regular cutouts for the pickups in the pick guard. So sometimes they don't adjust up and down easily the way you would like them to, because they're too snug inside the opening. But I find all you have to do is get you a little bit of sandpaper, and you just want to sand it just a little bit, because I mean it's not that snug, it's just a little bit. Just go around the edges of the pickup cutouts with that sandpaper and just take off just a hair, and that'll cure that right up. And the other question was, does the 18-volt mod give you more distortion? The answer to that's no. You don't get any more distortion from doing an 18-volt mod, but what you do get is that added power allows for more headroom. It allows the pickup to have a more open sound. Now, a lot of people, I use the word open, and a lot of people say, oh, it makes it more natural and gets rid of that sterile sound. But once again, we're back to the point where I don't think EMG sounds sterile.